Hello, this is Carrie Margaret with Create Love, and I have been thinking about this idea that the solutions might be simpler than what we think, um, coming more from the lens of a children's eye or from the lens of innocence. Uh, I don't think it's a coincidence. Oh my gosh, how did I not know who Charles Eisenstein was? I mean, I knew who he was. I don't have time to edit this. This is like a full on early morning mom day, life day, and haven't even showered yet. I got up at 3 this morning, and so there's no editing happening today, and we're just going to keep on moving forward. So, yeah, I can't even believe that I really know the depth of Charles Eisenstein's work. And then in the same week, I was introduced to William Whitecloud. That's why I got up at 3 in the morning to do a course with him in the UK. So it's UK hours, and he teaches about creativity. He teaches practical techniques to tap into creativity and our creative genius. And as far as I can tell in his world, I just got into his world with this workshop. Um, he teaches creativity in a way that everybody can tap into their individual creative genius. And this is definitely a time where we all need our individual creative genius. And also more simple solutions. And yeah, so all of this kind of converged. There was actually an exercise in the workshop today, and in keeping of the confidentiality and everything, I'll probably share this with the person that I do mention in the video. And I can always erase it later. But there was an exercise that we did, and I'm not going to go into all of the scopes of the exercise because of the intellectual property rights and all of those things. But in essence, we were connecting to our innocence, to our childlike innocence, to our wonder. Whereas William Whitecloud talks about our creativity comes from this space of innocence, and that one of the most pure spaces to create from and to move from is this space of innocence, almost most described as being in the space of, I think he calls it in no sense, when we're out of our mind system and our feeling systems in our body, and we're in more of a space of awe and wonder, the type of thing that children encounter and play. It seems, as I learn this body of work of his, that it might also refer to similar things to flow states. Well, anyways, as we create from this space, the greatest resource for us to tap into is innocence. Is our innocence. That was a really wild one for me today, because I have thought for a bit that wisdom really is a returning to innocence. It is, we have the innocence of a child, and then people think that innocence is bad. It's there's a naive part, or there's something about it. It's you can take advantage of innocent people, or people are taken advantage of in their states of innocence, and they have these challenging things happen to them sometimes. And so people think that people need to be protected from innocence, when it's actually the challenges. It's not the innocence that people need to be protected from. And learn from the challenges. There's a whole lot of other things I could say there, but I've often thought that wisdom is actually returning to innocence, into childlike wonder, and being able to do it in a more conscious way, more more at will, more with more sort of discernment, and actually kind of keeping certain things at bay to preserve this level of innocence, of awe, and of wonder. It's definitely something that comes up a lot in mindfulness communities, really the presence of being fully present to the moment and to the magic of the moment. These are deeply wise and innocent principles. So we were doing this innocence exercise and connecting, and one of the participants that was in my group had such a wealth. He felt like a resource, such a wealth of like the qualities of like honor and respect and refinement. And, you know, come to show he was somebody who'd been like life, and actually a lot of like physicality too, like this massive, very masculine physicality. And come to find out he had been like a lifelong member of the military. And it was so apparent to me in the moment, like how much embodied respect and honor that he carried in his cells. And the wealth of resource. This is not something that I've noticed like for the first time ever. And what is it? Simon Sinek, I think, talks about this, about the military and like codes of honor within the military, and what he learned about leadership in groups in the military. And there's it's just I have not been involved in military service. It's not something that I'm super immersed in. And also I have noticed this space of honor and respect and within military type families. And it was amazing to me because I was sitting in front of somebody that I'm not going to talk too much about his life switch after the military, because that would kind of feel like it would get into confidentiality things, but it's pretty fascinating, like the way that he took that experience and then brought it into this next chapter of his life. Really fascinating, actually. And back to the story. He just felt like this reserve of this energy of like honor and respect. And one of the things that I've come into awareness of, that was very influenced by Charles Eisenstein and listening to and his work and starting to read his books, is that the importance in a what does he call it? It's not interdependent, but in an interconnected. I'm sure I'll use the exact terminology that he uses in future videos, but like in this interconnected world, like the importance of like these reserves of goodness, of these moments of goodness, of you know, whether that person that brings patience or love into a moment, or the man that brings the honor and respect into the moment. This man was talking about a project that he was involved in, and how he, you know, not only was like in a position of leadership where other people were respecting him, he was getting the possibility to earn their respect. And the way that he talked about respect and held respect in high regard, it was like a reserve of respect and honor. And these reserves in the world of respect and honor bring a tremendous amount of safety. That's what I felt. I felt safety. I felt just like instantly very safe, like safety and into the world. And it had me thinking, you know, actually Charles Eisenstein talks about how much money we spend on the military, or how much money we put in, or how much energy we put into things related to war and defense, and how interesting it is that this base, you know, of military culture can bring so much like honor and respect within the individual. There are these individuals that are holding these reserves, and how that actually has the possibility to create the base for the new peacekeepers in a new world that we all know in our hearts is possible. That, this level of respect and honor actually brings the peace in, and then having a space where, especially I think this is especially important for men to put, some of that masculine energy and masculine force into protecting what is important to them. And it just occurred to me that even the military complex does not have to be about war. It can be about protection. It could even be in a new world order. It could even be about guidance and protection with climate issues, or with navigating different things in terms of when large populations of people or even animals need to migrate from one place to the other, the order keepers, the keepers of the honors of respect and things like honor itself, that actually bring the possibility for more peace. And it's interesting, you look at a lot of times in more left circles, or people that will just think that we're spending way too much money in the military, or and there's too much energy there. And this is not a conversation getting into gun culture or weapons complexes or any of those things. That's much bigger than what this conversation is. It's just getting into the simplicity that the ingredients that we have for a new world are and may already be largely in a lot of these spaces. That it always really has been that the stable spaces in society, the people like myself that are raising children and putting love and devotion into their homes and creating these deposits of love and nurturing, to the best of my ability. I mean, I'm sure even the man that I talked about, he's doing respect to the best of his ability, but that still is embodying these things and bringing this level of stability in. And what honor there is in raising children and in nurturing children, and then creating that sort of base that allows, Charles Eisenstein says, that the reason the change makers can exist is because all of these other people that are in service continually throughout the day, that caregivers, the parents, especially the single parents, all of these people that are just dedicating themselves to caring for other human beings, caring for their families, for their communities. And there are these, they're almost like this untapped natural resource of love and devotion, honor and respect. In the love and devotion part, in the family side, the nurturers, this man that I'm talking about from this military career, the people that bring safety and the possibility of peace. It's so interesting because in Create Love, one of the things that I wanted to really speak to is that, everybody is all has the potential for everything. And any time that we point out to make wrong something else in the world, it's something usually that we haven't completely integrated within ourselves, because once we integrate it, then the clearest way for us to look at the world is generally through a lens of compassion. Still, there will be things like anger and rage and injustice and things like that will come up. But in general, we get to see as we come into a space viewing the world through love, that understanding brings up so much farther in terms of connecting with people, in terms of really actually understanding them, trying to understand their position. That if we had live the life that they did, maybe we would be doing things the way that they are doing them right now. And maybe there's a different way to connect with them rather than to judge them. And I think this idea that I wanted to speak to about the simplicity is that, like, if we look at the world and its existing resources and people's resourcefulness, you know, isn't it natural to tap into the natural things that we're doing anyways? Like, wouldn't some of these honorable people who had been in the military, are in the military, wouldn't they be the good peacekeepers? Wouldn't the people within families, I mean, there's large numbers and statistics related to domestic violence or family issues, wouldn't the ones that are learning the codes of, like, how to heal generations of dysfunction, or if that's their story, or just step into a greater version of being a nurturing parent and being able to cultivate, you know, people's individual genius? Like, would those be the people that could be the change makers in and families, and creating new systems for love and for peace and for understanding in the relationship space? You know, there always has been this level of, like, dysfunction versus this level of, like, love that really comes from innocence. It's so interesting. William Whitecloud said today, he said that romantic love is projecting from this space of innocence, it's projecting our light onto another rather than just seeing it within ourselves. And so frequently, romantic love in the world is seen as this codependent thing, this other that I'm enchanted with, that is so full of light, that's actually, we're projecting our light onto the other so then we can be in devotion with them and with ourselves, or be devotion. Not a lot of people don't really do romantic love 100% devotionally, so I want to correct that word, but, you know, so that we can be in connection with the other and with ourselves. And there is, at the same possibility, and always exists and has exists, and there are these people and these couples out in the world that are in love from a space of wholeness, in a space of being a team and making each other feel more loved and more of themselves, but not from a space of lack or incompleteness. All of these things are always existing at the same time. And I think, you know, what if it really just takes the simplicity and innocence of enough people looking with childlike eyes and wonder to make some of the solutions more simple? There's this story that I loved as a kid about this truck that got stuck in an underpass, and, like, you know, the top of the truck, like, didn't clear the underpass, so, like, the top of the truck got stuck in this underpass, and it was blocking traffic, and nobody could figure out what to do with it, and, like, how to get the truck from remove the truck so that the road could be free again and traffic could get by and life could go on. And so they're, like, bringing in all of these engineers, and they're, like, bringing in, there's all these service people coming in, they're trying to figure out, how are we going to remove this truck? And then this child, who is a spectator, comes and says, why not just release the air from the tires? See, it's the childlike view and innocence and wonder that brings us to the most simple solutions. And I'm not saying that all of the planetary solutions will be simple. I think that actually change is such an interesting thing, and there are so many factors involved in that. And I just want to invite you in. Again, I can't edit this today. Haven't even showered yet. This is vulnerable for me because, like, as a woman, I don't really care what anybody else thinks about me as a person, but in general, like, as a woman, the way that we're socialized to or at least the way that I felt that I was socialized in the United States. I'm not saying that's the way my family socialized me, but there is this kind of pressure to like feel like put together, or whatever. And even like I probably would never like purposely film a video in like terrible lighting or something. Like I'm going to have a little bit of an eye to that, but like today I haven't even showered. I'm feeling like that grossness of the day that just moves by. And anyway, so it felt a little bit vulnerable. And if I'm going to do this project and I'm going to put my voice out in the world with the idea that if I just serve one person with each video and make that any little change or inspire an idea or help you to think about how you could tap more into your creativity, or help you think about how you or feel more loved and bring more love into your life, feel more possibility for healthy love, then all of it is worth it. And I have to say, going on, I was feeling vulnerable today, and I came on anyways without the editing possibility, in the rush space, without the shower, and all of kind of that ickiness of wanting to go home and shower. And yeah, I went a little bit too deep into that one, but the simplicity. I want to get back to the simplicity of being in an innocence, and how you can bring that into some area of your life. In some area of your life, if you could just drop into innocence and see it with new eyes, and maybe that's with a beloved or a lover, maybe that is with a family member, maybe that's with a friend, maybe that's with a challenge. If you could just like stop for a moment and imagine what it would be to be just present in innocence, and bring that to what you're looking at. What simple things could you see? What simple things could we all see? What is this beautiful world that we can step into, that our hearts all know is possible? I don't know if it's going to make sense to cite Charles Eisenstein in every single video that I do, but that phrase feels so powerful to me. We'll see how I can do that. Honor the work and send people his way as him being the inspiration for that. And really, I just love it. I love how that feels to say, I love the sensations in my body when I think about that. And there is a truth to it. We all know in all different areas. Our heart knows, whether that's on an individual level too. Our heart knows that there is something more beautiful that is possible. Sending you so much love.